Good morning, it's May 9th, and this is To My Liberal Friends. We'll never let it be said that politicians cannot see the obvious hypocrisy in things they say. It's as if they have no filter between their brains and their mouths. And it's on full display this week with Democrats, along with their liberal media pundits, bemoaning what's going on with the Trump trials. What has moved them into an absolute tizzy is the decision by Judge Eileen Cannon, who serves on the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Florida, to delay the trial of Donald Trump on the classified document issue at Mar-a-Lago. Now, I think we need to look at some of the facts before we delve into this outrage. I've long said this is the most valuable case against Trump simply because there are strong rules and laws about how you handle classified information, and that's a key point. The fact that Trump had these classified documents in his possession in his Florida home, it's a problem. But the case against Trump suddenly became much weaker when Joe Biden was discovered to have classified documents both at a university office in Washington and at his home in Delaware. Ultimately, the Department of Justice declined to pursue the case against Biden, and Democrats, they applauded that decision. In the case at hand, it was scheduled to go to trial on May 20th, but a couple of issues have arisen. One being that Trump might be tied up in New York in the most ridiculous of the lawfare cases against him, as Judge Marchand mandates that he be in court each and every day. It's highly unlikely that this trial will be concluded by that date. And then you factor in that every judge has a calendar that they have to manage, and other cases come up on the calendar, and that's what happened with Judge Cannon. Senate Democrats are expressing their outrage over this decision to delay the case without any date set, and they're accusing Judge Cannon of deliberately slow-walking the case simply because she was appointed by Trump to the bench. Of course, they see nothing wrong with a highly partisan Democrat judge overseeing the current case in New York. They brush off the notion that Judge Marchand's daughter is a Democratic activist and fundraiser who's making money fundraising off the trial where her father presides. But that's not stopped the onslaught of Senate Democrats from speaking out. Now, we all remember Mazie Hirono, the Democrat from Hawaii, from her ridiculous comments during the Kavanaugh hearings. On this, she calls out Judge Cannon, saying, "I don't think she's being objective. I think she has an ideological agenda. I also think she's not very experienced in dealing with trials," she added, "and there's a way that she can be reassigned. I certainly would support that." Dick Durbin, the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, not to be outdone, chimed in with the following comment, quote, "There have been questions from the start as to whether or not she was up to the task of handling a complex case like this in a timely manner, and even more serious questions as to whether her politics had anything to do with the rulings." Think about that for a moment. Where was Durbin when Fani Willis hired her boyfriend, a family law attorney, to prosecute a complicated RICO case in Georgia against Trump? I guess Durbin thought those paramours were up to the task and didn't see any problem. I have to assume that none of them, these elected senators, have even read the piece in Politico, a noted liberal rag covering Capitol Hill. There they detailed some actual facts about what led to Judge Cannon's decision. Special counsel Jack Smith's team acknowledged Friday that some evidence in the prosecution of former President Donald Trump for hoarding classified documents may not be in the same sequence FBI agents found it when they swept into the Mar-a-Lago compound on August 2022. In their filing, prosecutors acknowledged the government had previously, and incorrectly, told the U.S. District Judge, Eileen Cannon, that the boxes remain, quote, in their original intact form as seized, other than a decision to replace classified documents with placeholder sheets. Now, they weren't that way. The hypocrisy of these politicians, as well as their buddies in the media, yes, I'm talking to you guys on CNN and MSNBC, is so apparent that anyone can see it. When there appears to be a political bent to going after Trump, they turn a blind eye. When a judge in New York allows a former porn star to detail her sexual escapades, which have nothing to do with the actual charges being levied against Trump, they don't see a problem with that. What is really scaring all these Democrats and liberals is they convince themselves they could defeat Trump in the courts and therefore would not have to face him at the ballot box. Democrats are close to giving up hope that the felony charges accusing Trump of mishandling classified documents, obstructing justice, and making false statements will even reach a verdict before Election Day. And they fear he will immediately kill the case if he defeats Biden in November and goes back to the Oval Office. Even the judge in New York suggests he may be the future president. And that's the root cause of the Democrats' anger. They can read the polls as well as anyone, and they see Joe Biden floundering in the key states that it takes to win. They see the public rejecting Biden's ludicrous claims that the economy is great and the polls are all wrong. and their biggest fear is that Biden might actually have to stand on a debate stage with Trump and have one senior moment after another. Their goal has been to defeat him in the courts and keep him off the ballot or damage him so the voters will turn on him. Their strategy seems to be falling apart, so they have to show their anger or start calling anyone that delays or stops this strategy as incompetent. The irony of all this is the public is seeing Biden as the one that's incompetent. This has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening.